Ethical analysis of biological weapons, a multifaceted dilemma, uncontrollable harm, and indiscriminate impact. Biological weapons pose a unique ethical threat due to their potential to cause widespread, uncontrollable suffering. Unlike conventional weapons, pathogens can mutate, spread beyond targeted populations, and persist in environments, leading to unintended pandemics. This indiscriminate nature violates the principle of distinction in just war theory, which mandates protecting non-combatants. Violation of scientific ethics. The deliberate manipulation of life forms to inflict harm contradicts the foundational ethical mandate of science, to improve human welfare. The Hippocratic Oath's do no harm principle extends beyond medicine to scientific research, raising moral questions about the role of researchers in military bioweapon programs. Dual-use dilemma. Legitimate scientific research, e.g., vaccine development, can be co-opted for weaponization. For example, gain-of-function studies to understand viruses might inadvertently enable the creation of more dangerous strains. Balancing scientific progress with biosecurity requires robust oversight frameworks, such as the Australia Group's export controls, to mitigate misuse without stifling innovation. Deterrence versus catastrophic risk. While some argue bioweapons deter adversaries, their unpredictability and ease of concealment make them poor tools for stable deterrence. Unlike nuclear weapons, biological agents lack clear attribution, complicating retaliation and escalating risks of unintended escalation. Environmental and ecological consequences. Releasing engineered pathogens risks irreversible ecological disruption. For instance, a pathogen targeting crops could devastate food systems, harming both human populations and ecosystems. This violates the precautionary principle, urging restraint in the face of uncertain but catastrophic risks. Accountability and international law. The 1972 Biological Weapons Convention, BWC, prohibits the development and stockpiling of bioweapons, yet enforcement remains challenging. Attribution difficulties, e.g., the 2001 anthrax attacks in the U.S., undermine accountability, highlighting gaps in global governance. Strengthening the BWC with verification mechanisms and transparency measures is critical. Historical precedents and moral lessons. Historical atrocities, such as Japan's Unit 731 experiments and the smallpox-infected blankets used against indigenous peoples, underscore the horrific human costs of bioweapons. These examples reinforce the global consensus against their use, enshrined in international norms. Defensive research and the slippery slope. While defensive research, e.g., developing vaccines or detection systems, is ethically justified, it risks normalizing dual-use technologies. Clear boundaries and oversight are essential to prevent defensive programs from masking offensive capabilities. Ethical theories and perspectives. Utilitarianism. The catastrophic potential harm of bioweapons far outweighs any hypothetical benefits, rendering their use indefensible. Deontology. Using bioweapons violates the categorical imperative to respect human life and autonomy. Virtue ethics. The malice and recklessness inherent in bioweapon development conflict with virtues like compassion and responsibility. Non-state actors and global security. The threat of bioterrorism by non-state actors, e.g., Aum Shinrikyo's 1995 sarin attack, complicates deterrence. Global cooperation, intelligence sharing, and public health preparedness are vital to counter these asymmetric threats. Conclusion. Upholding the prohibition, the ethical consensus against biological weapons is clear. Their use is a moral abomination that transcends geopolitical rivalries. Sustaining this prohibition requires strengthening international treaties like the BWC with enforceable verification, promoting transparency in dual-use research, investing in global health infrastructure to detect and respond to outbreaks, fostering a culture of responsibility among scientists and policymakers. As biotechnology advances, vigilance and ethical foresight are paramount to ensure science remains a force for good, never a tool of destruction.